Pizza time.
Hello, everybody. It's just me today. I've put this off for quite a while, because let's start at the beginning. So 2-3 weeks ago now, my roommate and I spent the whole day at the movies.
The whole day wasted.
Watching Secrets of Dumbledore, Sonic, and Morbius again. Again for me, first time for him. And I thought about doing like one great big mega review for all of those, but I've already talked about Morbius, and Sonic was fine. It was fun. There's not a whole lot to get into there because it's just fun stuff. You can't really critique Sonic. I mean, you could, but like to what end? But it's Secrets of Dumbledore that I'm going to talk about today. And I have arranged all of my wizardy things. I've got my book and my little newt, my Dumbledore, and my demiguise. So I just to prove, or I suppose point out, that I'm really into this franchise. And I was hoping against all hope that this movie was going to be good. It wasn't. But here's the thing. It's hard to say it was bad for me. I'm sure for some people it's very easy to say it's bad. It's more just that there wasn't a whole lot to it any which way. It's like, as a movie, it's kind of confusing here or there, and the motivations are kind of all over the place now and then, only because we don't exactly know what the motivations are. But it's more, for me personally, I loved the first one so very, very much. And the second one I was into for the most part, and then more things were pointed out to me as to why it didn't really work. And I'm still mixed on the second one. I think there's more to it than it gets credit for. This one, though, Secrets of Dumbledore, it's just frustrating because I don't even know how to get into it, because there's I have so much to say, and I don't know how to say it in a way that's cohesive because I tend to ramble. So I'll get into some of the things I did like right off the bat. I am really digging Jude Law as a younger Dumbledore. I think he does very well, and I think most people would say the same thing. Like he's a great actor, bringing life to that character. Again, it's cool. It works. Mads Mikkelsen as Grindelwald was good as well. I'm in the boat of people who weren't crazy about the fact that Johnny Depp was booted out, but Mikkelsen did well. There were some instances in which it felt like something that Depp would have done, which I don't know if that's just because Depp was bringing that character to life in a particular way and Mikkelsen did as well, or Mikkelsen tried to go in a similar vein to what Depp would have done. I still love Eddie Redmayne as Newt Scamander. Newt Scamander is one of my favorite characters in this entire wizarding world. So he's good too. And of course Jacob was great as usual. Seeing Pickett and the Niffler, which we find out in this movie his name is Teddy.
Called Teddy,
I believe, which was cool. Which was funny because in the movie I was thinking for the umpteenth time, it's interesting that the little Bowtruckle has a name, but the little Niffler doesn't. And then he name dropped him, which was cute. And I don't know. There's a lot of interesting world building in this, but that's where I start having issues. So let's get into the issues. So the movie starts off with Newt going to protect or to help a adult Qilin, which is a Chinese, or at the very least an Asian mythical creature who is known for appearing or foretelling. I'm just going to read it. Yeah, the Qilin is a legendary hooved chimerical creature that appears in Chinese mythology and is said to appear with the imminent arrival or passing of a sage or illustrious ruler, which is essentially what its role in the movie is, other than causing all the characters to fight and such. which was really cool. At first, I didn't know that was a real mythical creature, and in theaters, I was a little frustrated because they repeatedly talk about how every wizard grows up hearing about this creature and how it's taught in like schools. It's an elementary school kind of myth, and we've never heard about it before in any of the past movies, both Beasts and the Potter franchise. So at first I thought maybe it should have been a unicorn, as that's something that's already established. It's one of the purest creatures ever. It's something that we know of, and there would have been that parallel of Grindelwald using the unicorn's blood for one purpose and Voldemort using it for another later on. But the fact that the Chillin is an actual creature in mythology, like, that's cool. I like that we're using creatures that exist in mythology. Makes it feel just a little more real, I suppose. Because like the Erumpent and the Swooping Evil and the Niffler and the Bowtruckle and such, those are fun, and I love them. I love the original creatures from the franchise, but it's interesting to see more and more real mythical creatures brought into this, like the Thunderbird and the Zowu and such. So I like that. But yeah, we open with Newt trying to help it, and Credence and the gang showing up to steal it because Grindelwald wants it for his own dastardly purposes, which we'll get to. And yeah, there's a lot going on in this movie, which is one issue. There's so much going on, and that's kind of the point later on, is when Dumbledore is trying to combat Grindelwald's future-seeing abilities by creating all these different possible outcomes by having everyone doing something different. There was a lot of potential there, I think, for it to be really, really good in that like Ocean's 11, 12, or 13 way, in which everyone is kind of doing something and we as an audience don't necessarily know what it is until we watch it 2 or 3 times and we see all the pieces. But that's just not there. It just isn't. I mean, it might be a little tiny bit, but not a lot, because with them trying to counter Grindelwald's future seeing ability, them screwing it up and it not working out perfectly is kind of part of the plan. So there's no rhyme or reason to it, which is kind of a bummer, because it had potential to be like that M. Night Shyamalan-esque movie where like you don't get all the info, you don't see all the things at first. You have to see it a couple of times for it to really work, but like in a good way, not in a it's so vague or so confusing that you don't understand it until you watch it like 10 times, and that's only because it was pointlessly confusing. And it's not even, that's the thing, it's not even that it's pointlessly confusing, because all the little pieces don't really come together in the end, from what I could tell. Like Yusuf Kama's part in this movie, it's both very simple and very confusing at the same time. He's meant to go join Grindelwald, and Grindelwald is supposed to think maybe he's going to betray him, and then Grindelwald talks to Yusuf, and so we think maybe Yusuf is going to turn, and then he doesn't, and it's like all he does is stand around, and then he fights a couple of guys at the very end. Like, it's just, I don't know. That just, it felt like, why? So the thing that gets me the most is just what the movie could have been. And for some people that I know personally, that is one of my fatal flaws when it comes to thinking about movies. I'm not supposed to consider what it could have been. I should just focus on what it is. But I am incapable of doing that right now, because we've had like 2, 3, 4 years. How long has it been? At the very least, it's been 3 years. Yeah, 3 years since Crimes of Grindelwald, and there's been a lot of theories and a lot of really good, fun theories about where the movie was going and what we were going to be doing in this movie. And I did a video on that a couple weeks ago about my theories on the movie, and none of them were right. And it's not just that my theories were wrong, it was that like all of them were wrong. And that Queenie, I had a theory as to why Queenie joined Grindelwald, because the movie Crimes of Grindelwald, it seemed to foreshadow or parallel the idea that maybe she was under the Imperious Curse because Grindelwald wanted to use her mind-reading abilities. That wasn't there. So it now means that her joining Grindelwald, the motivation just doesn't make any sense, because in the movie it's portrayed that she wants to join Grindelwald so that she could be with Jacob. But in that moment that she leaves, she and Jacob are essentially broken up because he wants nothing to do with her in that moment. So, like, why does she join? Like, the one thing you wanted to join Grindelwald for is no longer something you have to worry about, so why are you doing it? And in this movie, she clearly doesn't want to be with them. She regrets it. She leaves and comes back. But, like, she comes back to the good guys, and it's like all is forgiven. She's spent an X amount of time with this guy, one of the most evil wizards in the world, and she's just back hanging out with the gang. Like, she's a mind reader. You would think that the ministry, one of the ministries, if not all of the ministries, would want to immediately talk to her. It's like, hey, you can read minds, and you've spent time with the worst guy in the world for months. Tell us what the deal is. You have the most insight into this guy that anyone in the world has. So that just didn't make any sense to me, the Queenie thing. And then the Credence thing, like, the Credence thing was whatever. I thought I had a better theory, but that's just me. But other people had even cooler theories about how it would have made sense. And, like, the thing is, it does make sense. It's fine. Aberforth having a kid is fine. Like, him being a Dumbledore is cool. It doesn't break continuity as far as I can tell, and it's not a big issue. But it makes the little twist at the end of Crimes of Grindelwald even more confusing. And that why did, first of all, how did Grindelwald find out? Because he didn't know, and then he does know. And then why does he feel the need to lie about them being brothers? Why couldn't he just say your uncle's trying to kill you? Like, what? Because it's like a twist and then a little mini twist, and then it twists back. I don't know, it doesn't twist back, but it just, so often in this movie the question is why, and there's very little answer given. So that's, yeah. So the Credence thing felt unfulfilling, and the Queenie thing felt unsatisfying in that it just, there were so many better ways I was expecting that to be done. And even though they didn't do the Queenie thing justice, it's still better than anything they did with Tina, because Tina's not in it at all, and I don't know why. Like, it just doesn't make sense. There was no reason to, like, write the character out. I don't think the actor had to be written out. She comes in at the end, and it's so annoying, because her involvement in the first one was really cool. Her involvement in the second one was, like, okay. They had to write in conflict for her and Newt to resolve in the second one. So in the third one, why did they have to do that again? Why is she getting less and less involvement in screen time and story relevance? Like, what's the point? I don't understand. Seeing her and Newt work together would have been really cool. Like, about 3 movies in, and the only thing we get out of Newt and Tina is them repeatedly just having to come together, like, rekindle their little relationship again and again and again. And I don't understand why. And Newt's whole thing in this movie, Newt is fine, but again, what they're doing with Newt just seems bizarre, because I had thought that the whole point of wanting Newt was a combination of who he is as a wizard, as a good person who doesn't seek power, he doesn't seek anything beyond just doing the right thing and helping all the creatures that he comes across. But in coming across these creatures, he's learned a lot. He knows what these things can do more so than any other wizard. And we've seen both visually, and we've been told in the books, that each kind of magical creature exists in its own world of magic. The rules are different for each one. And in that, goblins exist in a different kind of magic, and elves exist in a different kind of magic. Elves can operate in and out of wizard-protected places and such, and we see Dobby do it in 7 and whatnot. A good visual example is how the mother Chillin, takes 3 killing curses and then it dies. My point is that they all have really cool magical abilities that might be able to counter each other. And what I thought this movie was going to be about was Newt using, in a good way, the different magical creatures to try to destroy the blood pact for Dumbledore. Like, finding creatures with unique explosive or corrosive or magical degradation abilities, the Erumpet's explosive horn power, Thunderbird's lightning, some sort of salamander's evil fire. I don't know. I've read the book, but I don't remember all of them. But like, I thought that would have been a really cool way to involve Newt and his knowledge. And that's not here. He's just another one of the gang. Like, the creature involvement is gone for the most part from these films, except for the fact that the Chillin is involved. And I just feel like it didn't have to be like that. You could have involved the magical creatures way more than we've done. And the point about that bothers me is these trailers for these movies keep showing us scenes of new creatures.
In this film, there are exciting new creatures.
And we get to wonder, what is this thing? What is this thing going to do? Like, what are we going to see or explore in these films? And Crimes of Grindelwald did it with a shot of the Kelpie, shots of the Zowu, and then, like, there's nothing more of the Kelpie in the film, and we see Newt's basement and all this cool stuff, and we get no more exploration of it. But in that movie, we still get more of the Zowu. We meet the Matigos. There's a little more creature-esque thing that wasn't shown in the trailers in the Crimes of Grindelwald. In Secrets of Dumbledore, other than just messing around with the Chillin and them fighting the bigger scorpion creature later on, all of the creature shots were in the trailer. That great big inflatable duck thing, it does like the one thing, and that's it. We don't even know what that is. Like, we don't get a name drop of it, an exploration of it, nothing.
There's this extraordinary new creature called a wyvern,
which is a little bird-like two-legged dragon, and it has massive wings.
Because Newt is asleep at the time. The little scorpion things, we'd see him do his funny little pose with them, and he's walking through a bunch of them.
We've got these amazing creatures, which are called manticores.
Now, I'm excited for the world to see manticores. They're these sweet little crab-like things that are obviously in no way, shape, or form sweet.
But, like, we still don't really get a whole lot of exploration of them because they're just nasty, gross guard bugs, and we have to, we're running away from them. They're antagonistic, and we get no other creatures throughout the film. We get like 3 new magical creatures in this movie, one of which is a great big plot point, one of which is on screen for all of 15 seconds, one of which is just a bunch of bugs, and then a bigger bug that's trying to kill everybody. And like, it's getting to the point where the Fantastic Beasts part of these titles,
After the Harry Potter films, I was desperate to make a film where we could just explore beautiful, mysterious, magical creatures. I couldn't be more excited to join them.
Borderline false advertisement, which is really unfortunate because we've seen in the Harry Potter movies how integral these magical creatures actually are to this world and why Newt Scamander is so important. Because he was like the first one who was aware of this and made that clear to other wizards. And then the fact that they break the blood pact at the end just by themselves. Like, they kind of set it up in the beginning of the movie. It says that Dumbledore and Grindelwald said that they could rid themselves of it. And so that it's not entirely out of left field, but it's still weird and confusing, and it's not entirely clear how that happened. And there's plenty of videos out there probably that explain it, because I just haven't watched them. My point there is, the end of Crimes of Grindelwald made it, I really felt like the whole point of the next movie was going to be them trying to break that thing, find a way to break it, so that Dumbledore could face Grindelwald. Otherwise, Grindelwald would be protected, and none of that was there. It's involved, like, the blood pact is involved, and that's why Dumbledore can't do anything. But I thought there was gonna be a better idea as to how to pursue destroying the blood pact. And then another big issue for me personally, and I've not seen a lot of this discussed just yet, but I've only watched like 1 or 2 reviews because I was heartbroken and I couldn't face it. That's why this video is so late. But the trailers didn't really illustrate well, I think, what the point of this movie was, or what the goals were, what the story was. And not like the trailers aren't supposed to spoil the whole damn thing, but we get into this movie and Grindelwald is cleared of all charges, and you're kind of like, what? But okay, cool. I mean, he's evil and dastardly. I guess there's vague gray area there somehow, so cool, good for him. And then we're in Berlin, and there's this election going on, and Grindelwald wants to run in this election. And you're like, oh, okay, interesting. And we find out a little afterwards that this election is for the ruler of the entire wizarding world. Now, this may just be me, and I will absolutely admit it if I've missed something. I have read every book, watched every movie multiple times. I have The Cursed Child, The Tales of Beetle the Bard, and Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I've gone through Pottermore stuff for fun, and so on and so forth. I have never been aware of one ruler over the entire wizarding world. That, to me, came out of nowhere. I thought Grindelwald was running for minister of the German Ministry of Magic, and so because he wanted to put himself on the political stage. He was going to have more political power, and that was just going to feed into his goals, his plan, and there'd be more like weird, gross Hitler parallels or something. I don't know. And no, it turns out this is an election for the entire wizarding world. Like, did I just miss that somewhere in the last 20 years? Like, we've seen the British Ministry of Magic, the American Congress, the MACUSA. We've met the president. We've been to the French Ministry of Magic. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we've got one president or king or queen or minister or prime minister or something over all of them. Like, what? I don't know. That level of world building is something I feel that should have been established a long time ago. When you're doing prequels and we're finding out new stuff that we should have known, that's don't like that. And again, the end of Crimes of Grindelwald sets up this idea that Credence, he's now been set on this perhaps murder mission because he's been told that people are after him and that his brother wants to kill him. So he's now this dangerous wizard on a crazy, vengeful mission to take out Dumbledore. And like, that's not there. There's like one hit on Dumbledore, and Dumbledore briefly talks to him and then leaves when he could just stay and explain everything. But they fight in a Harry Potter version of the mirror dimension. I think it's unclear if it's like actually an upside down mirror dimension kind of thing, or if it's all in their heads. It's really not entirely made clear. But anyway, there's one hit on Dumbledore, and like, that's it. Credence is going through all this conflict, and he doesn't want to be with Grindelwald anymore, and he wants his family, and somehow he made a connection back with his dad through mirrors. I don't know. I really, 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 really wanted to like this movie. I thought there was potential that it could be the comeback, be stronger and better than Crimes of Grindelwald, and really solidify the franchise, because I want to see the whole thing, even though I don't like this movie all that much, and it's not doing what I think it should or could be doing, which, I guess that's not really for me to say. I'm a nobody. But both me and I think other people out there have discussed a lot of more interesting ideas. And with it going like this, it's not doing well critically. It's made the least amount of money, I think, opening week or something of any Harry Potter movie. And with all this stuff about Ezra Miller going on, I imagine it's very likely they won't make the other two movies. And that to me is more frustrating than the film itself. I'd rather see it completed, even though it's not going to be great, simply because I think it still has the potential to be that. Like, very much this franchise is my gross toxic high school boyfriend, and that I could see his potential, and I know he could be great, but all he does is hurt me. Too real? I don't know. I'm almost over this franchise, unfortunately, in that I have hope for it. I'll still see it if they make a fourth one, but I just feel like at this point it's probably unlikely, and it's a bummer. The one interesting thing that I've noticed, though, if this movie is the last Fantastic Beasts movie, last movie we get out of the Wizarding World, it will mean that the very first thing we see in the Wizarding World, as far as movies go, is Dumbledore walking into a street that is lit by lampposts. And the last thing we see is Dumbledore walking out of a street lit by lampposts. Which, poetic, I guess, but very unfortunate. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Secrets of Dumbledore. This video is very clearly me just rambling and going on random points here and there, because it's been weeks since I've seen it, and I do believe you need to see a movie a couple of times before you can really solidify an idea, but I was pacing up and down my apartment today talking about these points in my head, so I needed to get it out there so I can stop bothering my friends with it. So yeah, that's probably where I'll cap this one off. And I've definitely got other points that I just didn't get to. I do want to make a video talking about all three in tandem, like my opinion, my perspective, what I love and hate about all three as a whole. And I'll probably do that in a week or so because I want to watch the other two again. But yeah, we're gonna end this one on that point. So I've also realized that this is like my fourth video, and I've not introduced myself to YouTube out there. My name is Andrew, and my roommate's name is Drew, and we are doing this channel together, coming up with lots of fun, nerdy stuff, because that's what we do in our free time anyway, and we figured why not put it out there for anyone who finds it interesting. We don't have a lot of stuff on here yet to encourage likes or subscribing, but I am doing a project where each subscription generates a little character, a little drawing, and a great big banner that I'm going to be making. And we have 2 so far. Thank you to those 2. And they have generated these 2 little drawings. So any future subscribers will be represented as a character in this great big awesome art banner that we are doing together, kind of, in a way. I think it's a clever idea. Yeah, but we're gonna end that there. I'm gonna leave now. Looking at this though, I need to shave. I'm starting to look like Dumbledore. Bye.
Pizza time.